It's Annette at needlepointers.com. Bean bags are a fun item to have on hand and are a simple, budget-friendly sewing project. These do-it-yourself bean bags are the perfect way to use up scrap fabric while creating an item that can be used for great screen-free activities for kids. Once you have made a few, go to our bean bag tutorial page listed in the description section for a list of creative games and activities your kids will love using bean bags. Follow along with this YouTube video or go to our written beanbag page with photos and step-by-step instructions to learn how to make bean bags. Let's get started. What you'll need are dried beans, any type will do, scrap fabric, whatever you have available, a half a cup measuring cup, fabric scissors, and or a rotary cutter, ruler, and mat, sewing machine, thread, pins and or fabric clips, iron and pressing surface, and a sliding gauge. Press the fabric and then cut two 5-inch by 5-inch fabric squares for each bean bag you'd like to make. Using an iron and a 5-in-1 sliding gauge, on each square, measure down one edge a half an inch and press. You are folding it to the wrong side. Repeat on the other square. A sliding gauge makes this step easier and more precise. Now, place the two fabric squares on top of each other, right sides together, with the folded edges also together, aligning all sides. Pin or clip in place. Using a straight stitch and a 1/2-inch seam allowance, start stitching at the folded edge on one side of the bean bag. Don't forget to back stitch at the beginning and the end, removing the pins as you go along. Remove it from the sewing machine and now reinforce that seam by stitching it again. Do the same thing now on the opposite side. Remove the piece from the sewing machine. Now I'm going to teach you a corner wrapping technique which requires no corner trimming and produces perfect corners when turned. At each corner, you're going to fold it along the seam line toward the center and pin it. Do the same thing on the other side. Fold it along the seam line towards the center and pin. Now take this to the sewing machine, and again you're going to sew the bottom using a 1/2-inch seam allowance and also sew it again to reinforce the seam. So far, when you're finished sewing, this is what it should look like. Now let's turn it right side out through the top opening, the folded edge. Push out the corners a little bit and look at how nice those corners look. Fill the bean bag with a 1/2 cup of dried beans. You can use any dried beans that you have. And then pin the top edge parallel to the fold. Then place another row of parallel pins, keeping the beans down near the bottom, and this will help when you're sewing the opening closed, that the beans do not get in the way. Okay, let's go back to the sewing machine. Edge stitch along the final side to keep the opening closed. Remember to remove the pins as you're edge stitching. Since these bean bags will be used by children, let's stitch the edge again to make sure that it doesn't come apart when the children are using it. Trim the threads, remove the other pins, and your bean bag is complete. The bean bag is ready to use. Bean bags are quick and easy. You'll want to make a bunch. I hope you enjoyed this bean bag tutorial. Please like, share, and comment. Subscribe to our channel and follow us on Pinterest, Facebook, and X. Visit our website, needlepointers.com, for lots of other free sewing projects and tutorials. While you are there, sign up for our weekly newsletter so you don't miss any future tutorials and projects that we make.